Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. All right. Hare Krishna. So welcome all of you in today's session. Hare Krishna. So we are continuing our discussions from Sri Ishopanishad. Yesterday we had introductory session. So now we will proceed with the discussions. So in today's session, we wish to cover introduction, invocation, and also most of the mantra one discussion. I think should be over. The whole tree of Vedic literatures, right? We saw various scriptures, Shruti, Smriti, Nyaya. Yes. Yes. Shruti, Smriti, Nyaya, especially these three categories, and what all scriptures fall under those categories we talked about. Anyone would like to tell what is a Shruti? Yesterday we discussed. What is Shruti? You may raise hand. Yes, bro. Which is heard by me, you, who hears from whom? Right, I am hearing you, so Shruti. Right. Yes, anyone? Yes, Mataji.
So Shruti is Lord's sound which was heard by the sages, and then that which was heard by the sages, that is Shruti.
Wonderful. Shrutis are, it's actually the sound coming from the Lord, and it is heard by some great sage. And then that sage repeats or brings that message to humanity. Just like the Kathopanishad was revealed by sage Katha. Or Ishopanishad is revealed by the sage Dadhyancha. You have heard of the rishi called Dadhyancha. Dadhyancha, Dadichi. You know Dadichi rishi, right? What was speciality of Dadichi?
Vajra was made of
Vajra was made of his bones. So, commentators explain that Ishopanishad, the seer or the sage of Ishopanishad is sage Dadhyancha or Dadhyanga or Dadichi. It's the same person. He was the one who got revelation of these mantras. So that is Shruti. It is heard by one very special sage, and then that sage reveals. So in every yuga cycle, whenever the Shrutis come, what is the speciality?
always remains same.
They always remain the same. Shruti will always be the same. Whenever they are coming out, in every cycle, in fact in every day of Brahma in the beginning, all the scriptures come out of Brahma's mouth. So that time Shrutis will always have the same form, that way. Then what are Smritis? Yes, Madhuji. Yourself.
So, like they are, when Lord speaks it to the sages, they remember it and then they write it down, and that is Smriti.
Yeah, yes. The message of the Vedas, the sage, he speaks it, or basically he speaks it, and then Vyasadeva eventually writes it down. So that message typically is in his own words. So the knowledge called as, suppose, Vishnu Puran. So now Parashar Muni, he knows what is Vishnu Puran, and then he speaks it. So it is in his own words, and that knowledge is Smriti. So in different days of Brahma, when the Smriti Shastras come out, will they be the same or they can change?
They They can change.
They can change, exactly. So that is very nice. That is what is Smriti. And then finally, what is Nyaya then? In this same category, Nyaya came twice actually in discussion. But in the same category, Shruti, Smriti and Nyaya, which part of scriptures is called Nyaya? Anyone remembers? Raise the hand. Bhagavatam is called Nyaya. Yes, but yes, Prabhu. Yeah. आप सार बता रहे हो एकदम आप एकदम सार बता रहे हो सब कुछ. Yes, yes. More specifically, Nyaya, it refers to Vedanta Sutra. That scripture called as Vedanta Sutra. They are called as Nyaya. Shruti, Smriti, Nyaya. These three are broad categories like that. So we discussed about details of those scriptures and all. We also discussed their categories and all. So especially within that, within the Vedic scriptures, Vedanta is considered to be the best part of it. Vedanta. Literally, Vedanta would mean what? What would be the meaning of the word Vedanta? The end of end of knowledge, or the conclusion of knowledge, end of knowledge. That would be Vedanta. And that section is Upanishads basically. Upanishads are known as Vedanta, and that same Upanishad was summarized by Vyasadeva in 555 sutras. They are known as Vedanta Sutras or Brahma Sutras or Badarayan Sutras. All these names are for that same. So within Vedas, the Vedanta section is very much glorified. It is glorified as highest Vedanta, that way. So Upanishads are Vedanta. So when we are studying Isha Upanishad, will it fall under Vedanta or not?
Yes.
It will fall, yes. This is Vedanta section, Isha Upanishad. And Upanishads, as we were discussing yesterday also, they are typically studied by the renounced sages. See, four aspects of the Vedas. So, Vedas are divided into Samhitas, Brahmanas, Aranyakas, and finally Upanishads. So who studied what? That is important. So Upanishads, we said, this is also known as Vedanta. It is considered the highest part of the Vedas. Upanishads. So Samhitas were studied by brahmacharis. Brahmanas were studied by grahasthas, householders. Aranyakas by vanaprasthas. Then Upanishads, who should study?
Sannyasis.
Sannyasis. That way. Sannyasis studied Upanishads. Or those who are aspiring for renunciations, they studied Upanishads. So that's why these sections were considered to be Vedanta. They were considered to be the highest subject matter. It deals with subject matters which are basically transcendental subject matter. So that's why they are also known as Brahma Vidya. Upanishads are known as Brahma Vidya, or they are also known as Rahasya Vedas. Rahasya Veda. Secret, huge secret. Kya secret hai bhai itna? So that is Upanishad. Because typically Samhita, Brahman, Aranyak, these deal with some sort of karma kandi rituals. And this Upanishads deals with the transcendental subject matter, or Brahma Vidya, or Rahasya Veda. It is basically talking about transcendental subject matter. Before this, in all these, there is more general discussion about materialistic life and fulfillment of materialistic pleasures and all that. See, even brahmacharis, you may wonder why are they studying these things? Because they would typically help in the yagyas which are being performed. So in those yagyas they would chant the mantras and all that this way. But Upanishads is that section which is the transcendental section. So as Hare Krishna devotees, as Vaishnavas, we are also interested in that Upanishadic wisdom, not so much in other three. Because Upanishads speak about transcendental subject matter, what is, who is Jiva, who is Paramatma, and all that. So, we as devotees, we should not be reluctant for studying Upanishads, or we should not think like, oh, Upanishad, that is not our cup of herbal tea, you know. So, we should not say like that. No, we also study Upanishad. It's just that we study Upanishads with the clear-cut understanding that Upanishads are highest subject matter, speaking about bhakti, that aspect. We don't study Upanishads like Vedantis who think that highest truth is just oneness between Supreme Lord and living entity. No, not like that. So, Upanishads is highest section, Vedanta. Remember that term Vedanta, which is for Upanishads, like that. So, Vedanta section and the style of Upanishads, yesterday also I was saying, it is not straightforward. You know, if somebody is very intelligent and you tell him straightforward, so the person feels humiliated. You know, person may feel like, you are telling me so simply. No, you tell me something of my caliber, something, you know, which is complicated, right? Complicated one, the brain works like that. So because Upanishads are studied by great intellectuals, the language of Upanishads is also very enigmatic sometimes. It is not straightforward. Puranas are straightforward, you know. First and foremost because they are coming in Shruti, so that's why also the language is anyway higher. But it's also because the renunciates, the jnani people studied, so the language of Upanishads is little complicated. That's how they are, this way. So there was one acharya in our line, Madhva line, called as Vyasatirth. So Vyasatirth wrote one book. So, in the beginning of that book, he wrote a book called as Nyayamrita. It's a very popular book in study of Vedanta Sutras. So he said, this Vedanta section is like, he said, Nahi ikshudanda lehene naiva jnat ikshuraso bhavet. Nacha ikshudandam nishpidya na ikshuraso bhavet. What is he saying? He is saying the Vedanta section is like eating sugar cane. Sugar cane, you know, sugar cane sticks. You have eaten sugar cane, all of us, right? So you have to take sugar cane and then you have to remove, you know, the outer covering. Then you have to chew that sugar cane, chew it nicely, and then finally the juice comes out. So he says similarly Vedanta section is like you have to take the verse, dissect it, analyze it very, very well, chew on it, meditate on it, reflect on it, and then you will get the juice of that Vedanta section. So that is how Vedanta is. It is like eating sugar cane stick. Bhagavatam is like drinking the, you know, drinking the juice We talked about other day, Bhagavatam is compared to drinking fruit or drinking juice. Just take it and drink it nicely, you will enjoy. But Vedanta is oftentimes a complicated subject where you have to analyze, dissect and all that. And this way. It is Srila Prabhupada's mercy that he has made that Upanishad or Vedanta section also for us very relishable through his purports and all like that. But otherwise, yes, Upanishadic section oftentimes have lot of complicated language and philosophies also like that. Although the message is very profound, the message is very, very wonderful like that. So that's how the Upanishads are. So now, in the introduction section, you see Srila Prabhupada, in introduction of this particular scripture, Ishopanishad, Prabhupada has basically included here his lecture which was given at Conway Hall in London on October 6, 1969. That's basically a lecture that Prabhupada has given, and that lecture is put here as the introduction. So most of the points of introduction we have covered actually. We'll just go through them now very quickly. So I'm going to share this PPT with all of you. In this, what I do is introduction now, you see. So this P stands for paragraph. So every paragraph of Prabhupada's purport, P1, P2, you see this? Should I make it more large? 1 second. Okay, you see now P1? So paragraphs, this paragraph 1, paragraph 2, paragraph 3. So I have just put the theme of this paragraph. You can see paragraph 1 to 5. What is the theme? Someone can read?
As we have 4 defects, we need the Vedas.
Yeah. So that's all is the theme of paragraph 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. So basically this overview document will give you that themes that are there in the various paragraphs. Then you see further paragraph 6 and 7, his theme is Vedas give universal and axiomatic wisdom. So like that we can see. So now as we have 4 defects, we need the Vedas. That's what Prabhupada is speaking in first 5 paragraphs. So you can see over here. So we have some mic or something, or we can, okay, we have, yes. So read, Prabhu, this highlighted portion. Anyone can read.
Hare Krishna. What are the Vedas? The Sanskrit verbal root of Veda can be interpreted variously, but the purport is finally one. Veda means knowledge. Any knowledge you accept is Veda. For the teachings of Veda are the original knowledge. In the conditioned state, our knowledge is subject to many deficiencies. The difference between a conditioned soul and a liberated soul is that the conditioned soul has 4 kinds of defects.
Yeah. So Prabhupada begins the discussion with what is Veda? Veda. So Veda has this dhatu, verbal root called vid. Vid means to know. And Veda means, what is the meaning of word Veda?
Knowledge.
Knowledge, yeah. Especially knowledge that is transcendental knowledge, Shabda Praman. Not just any Shabda Praman. Yesterday we talked about Shabda Praman, but specific Shabda Praman. What is that? Apaurushaya Shabda Praman. That is Veda. Okay. So Veda is that knowledge. So when Prabhupada says any knowledge you accept is Veda, that is in generic sense. But then when we say, this caps uppercase V is there, right? When we talk about this word Veda with uppercase, then it means that apaurushaya Shabda Praman, the knowledge that is directly coming from the Supreme Lord. So we have talked about this idea. So right in the beginning, Prabhupada brings up the discussion on 4 defects. If you have to make someone listen, especially Prabhupada is talking here in London, he's giving a lecture. Conditioned soul's disease is he thinks that he is perfect, he knows everything, right? Especially when it comes to subject matter of God, everybody is a philosopher, isn't it? In this world, see, if I ask someone in outside world also, would you like to tell where was Schrödinger wrong in his Schrödinger's experiment in quantum mechanics? If you ask a question to outsider, so what will, if the person is not an expert in quantum mechanics, what will he say? I don't know. I don't even understand what are these words Schrödinger and cat experiment, quantum mechanics and all. But if you ask someone, what do you think about God? What do you think about goal of life? How many people are going to say, well, I don't know. This subject matter is not the field of my expertise. Whether it is taxiwala, whether it's a minister, a laborer, owner of a company, everybody has opinion on that subject matter. That what God is, why bad things happen to good people, all these subject matters, right? Everybody begins to speak about it. They don't say, well, I am not an expert on this field. I don't know, I have not studied these things. In every other walk of life, people think that a particular stream of knowledge is a very serious pursuit. But here, when it comes to spiritual life, people think everybody can speak. Everybody speaks like a philosopher this way. Of course, some knowledge of some basic principles may be there by one's background, but understanding scriptural knowledge is also a very serious study and pursuit. And unless and until one is expert into that, one should not actually speak anything and everything opinions. But you see outside, especially in India and on social media, everybody speaks on. They speak like they are great scholars and philosophers of Vedas this way. So that is very unfortunate. So Prabhupada, right in the beginning, he is talking about 4 defects. First, come to your senses and understand that we all have 4 defects, imperfect senses. What are the 4 defects? Anyone? 4 defects? Yes, Mataji?
So the first defect is that we commit mistakes.
Yeah.
Then we are illusioned. And third is we have the cheating propensity. We have the defect of cheating propensity. And then fourth is that our senses are imperfect.
Yes. Right? If you go by which leads to another, which defect leads to another defect, then Prabhupada also explains in this way that first and foremost we have imperfect senses, right? We don't have perfect senses that can see everything. If something is too close to your eyes, you can't see. Something goes very far, then also you can't see. I can't see who is standing beyond this wall. I can't see. So with those imperfect senses, the knowledge that we are receiving, how can we be so proud of it? Right? We after all are seeing a certain part of reality. We are not seeing the full aspect of reality. Dimensions of reality, we are seeing only certain parts. So because we have imperfect senses, so we have a tendency to get illusioned, right? If we are, if we dip our hand in hot water and then take it out and then dip in cold water, then we will feel it colder than what actual temperature is. Or the other way around also. If you eat something sweet and then you are given a further sweet thing to eat, that you will feel like this is not very sweet, isn't it? But if you eat something sour, like amla, and then you are given something sweet to eat, then you will feel, oh, this is too sweet. What is happening? we are getting illusioned. We are not exactly able to perceive what is the reality. So because we get illusioned, then we commit mistakes also. And because we want to hide mistakes, then we cheat also, right? We all remember in our school and college days, we would make those titrations in chemistry, So at a certain point of time, that liquid in the burette, it turns pink. If you remember, some of you may remember in your science experiments. So you have to go by, putting that liquid drop by drop, and then eventually it turns, titration turns liquid. Or take another example, in physics and all, you would have certain graphs. So we, point graph we have. So before only we ask, hey, what is that ideal point? Or what is the ideal content where the liquid turns pink? और फिर सीधा उस पे लेके जाके दिखा दिया like that. Your graph is coming like this, but then the ideal graph is like this, so then you will do like this. Cheating propensity. Because when we commit mistakes, we want to also avoid them. So that's when the cheating propensity comes in picture, right? So Prabhupada is talking about that particular aspect. The difference between a conditioned soul and a liberated soul is that the conditioned soul has 4 kinds of defects. Yes. So no matter what a conditioned soul does, whether he uses microscope or whatever, finally the knowledge that is being taken, that is taken through imperfect senses only, So that's why one can only perceive a part of reality. It's not possible to perceive complete picture of reality, because senses are inherently defective. You may extend the range and all, but still finally what you take inside, it has that defect. So Prabhupada is also pointing out defect, and in defect he is pointing out Mahatma Gandhiji's that aspect of mistake where he was warned that you will be killed, please don't go to that prayer assembly. But then still he went, and then he was shot dead there. So whether Mahatma Gandhi or whoever, in the material world everybody commits mistakes, right? It's common. To err is human, it is said. So Prabhupada, right in the beginning, is first putting this aspect of 4 defects, So you can see another effect is to be illusioned, Prabhupada says. 3rd defect is cheating propensity. In fact, this cheating propensity goes on in all the fields actually. Even in the field of science it is there, right? Science is supposed to give us the perfect knowledge. But sometimes even in that field the cheating propensity is there. So we are not against science, but we are against atheistic or cheating kind of science. There were some scientists like Isaac Newton. He said, my discoveries are like pebbles on a vast ocean. Ocean beach has so many pebbles. So my discoveries are like small pebbles on that. But God has created this vast ocean, this vast beach of the ocean. And from that creation of God, I am finding some small pebbles. When he discovered law of gravitation, he said like that. So initially science was actually to glorify the God. It was to glorify the aspect of the universe, how Creator is wonderful. But slowly it became atheistic. Instead of glorifying the design in the universe, we see that God was removed from the picture, especially with Darwin and all these scientists, this way. So even in the field of science, we see there is this aspect of cheating. So basically it's a nature of humans to cheat. Nobody is free from those 4 defects. So only when we start progressing in spiritual life, then we start becoming free from those 4 defects. Slowly. Yes, Prabhu. Yes, Prabhu.
2 questions. I just would like to relate this with the previous topic that you said. So when it comes to human beings, so we have 4 defects now. Human beings are also someone who are sages,
Yes.
who can be Shrutidhara, and they can also be a part of Smriti.
Yeah.
So how do we understand that part of it? And that is the first question. The second question is, when we talk about qualities, Lord Krishna is perfect in everything, and then how we define that by analyzing the 64 qualities.
Right.
And then Brahmadev is having 52 qualities, and we are part of Bhakti of Brahmadev, and we have 50 qualities in some ways. So how do we relate to this, and how do we understand this 4 different parts of it? We can understand it.
Yeah. See, the point is this, that as far as the sages are concerned, why are they beyond 4 defects? The sages who see the mantras, Shruti mantras and all that. So, as human beings, we have 4 defects. But what happens is, when the consciousness goes on purifying, so this whole effort of purification of consciousness, when it leads to a stage where we are free from all the material attachments, that is the stage person becomes free from the 4 defects. So now for a devotee like Hare, in the process of bhakti, somebody who is on the level of prema, that is the stage where all the material attachments are gone. So now that perception at that level of prema bhakti, that perception, Prabhu, is free from all the defects actually. So it's a journey to go to that level where one becomes free from 4 defects. Conditioned soul is one who has those 4 defects. But when you become a liberated soul, then you don't have 4 defects. So these sages, they are all liberated souls. That's why they are free from the 4 defects. You understand? Somebody like Vyasadev, somebody like Parashar Muni, Yajnavalkya, are they with 4 defects or they are free from 4 defects? They are free from 4 defects. That's why when they write smritis also, Prabhu, those smritis will be free from all the defects. And what to speak of shrutis? They are directly coming from the Lord. They will always be perfect. No issues with that. So that's the point. So whole journey in our life is also to go from conditioned soul to that liberated soul. This way. And that liberation basically for Vaishnavas means when we develop full love for Krishna, full love for the Supreme Lord, then that person becomes liberated soul. Now he is qualified to go back home, back to Godhead. That's the qualification. This way. So all the qualities that are there in the jivas, those qualities in conditioned state, Prabhu, those qualities may manifest. And in conditioned state, even though some of those qualities may manifest, but still he remains under 4 defects. Now when you become a liberated soul, all those qualities, like 50 qualities, they manifest in their pure form. And that is when one is free from all the 4 defects. This way. So that's not the case with Krishna or Vishnu Tattva. Whenever they manifest the qualities in any incarnation or like that, they are always beyond 4 defects. So that's the difference between these 2 characteristics. Anyone else wants to ask? So if human beings have 4 defects and all that, then what to speak of animals, right? Will they be, superior to humans or inferior to humans? Inferior actually. Why? Because they don't have that developed consciousness. So humans are being taken as a stereotype for comparison here. So once you show that humans are themselves, equipped with these 4 defects, then what to speak of animals and all, right? There is no question of talking about them. Do you find animals discussing about spiritual life? Athato Brahma Jidnyasa. सब पशुओं की सभा है, उसमें बोल रहे प्रभु जी आएंगे क्या लेक्चर देने आज? Can you come to give class? No, it doesn't happen, right? Shastras speak primarily for humans. It is a human quest. Sometimes by God's mercy, some animal also may get great mercy. That is different. That is more like mercy. But who is qualified to inquire about spiritual life is humans only. So the whole standard of discussion revolves around the humans. These humans who have those 4 defects. So even devatas, demigods, they are also not free from 4 defects. They may have much greater power than the humans, but they are not free from 4 defects. That freedom from 4 defects, for that one has to be liberated soul only. Liberated soul only. Now, when we talk about devatas like Indra, Chandra, Varuna and all that, they are very high posts, but are they liberated souls? What do you think, Mataji? Are they liberated? No, they are not actually. They are not liberated souls. So, yeah, because they have some some mixture within their consciousness. So, no doubt they are very exalted, and they are much more exalted than us. But still, are they equal to somebody like Vyasadeva, Parashar, Narada, Manu, such sages who are pure devotees, who are liberated souls? No, they are not that way. So that's why we see sometimes even Indra commits mistake, isn't it? Or Chandra commits mistakes, and those happen. These mistakes happen even from them, this way. So this is the journey of spiritual life, where we actually one day become qualified to be a liberated soul, and then thus join Krishna's transcendental spiritual world, like that. So we just have to render the process of bhakti, and it will happen. It will slowly, Prabhupada would say it's like a cleansing process. So when you go on cleansing, then slowly all the dirt is gone, and then the water becomes completely pure. So that's how the process of bhakti is also, cleansing this way. So you see, so that was Prabhupada's first theme. Then Prabhupada says, Vedas give universal and axiomatic wisdom. So when you talk about Veda, then first and foremost, Prabhupada says you may call the Vedas Hindu, but Hindu is a foreign name. So there is some debate on this point these days, whether Hindu word comes in Vedic scriptures. So some of the spiritual leaders, they have this argument that no, Hindu comes in scriptures. But Prabhupada always spoke this particular concept. So Hindu word is not found in Vedic scriptures. Right? Those who lived beyond Sindhu, they were called as Hindu. That's how the word originated. As I said, there is some debate on this topic, but let's suffice to say that Prabhupada is explaining in this manner. So we are Sanatan Dharma's followers, or you can say we are the followers of Veda. Vaidika Dharma or Sanatan Dharma or Varnashrama Dharma, and these are all different words. Right? If someone asks, which path do you follow? Then how will we answer? What will you say? Which spiritual path do you follow? Sanatan Dharma. Very nice. Sanatan Dharma or Vaidika Dharma or Varnashrama Dharma, you could say. Or you could say Bhakti directly. We follow Bhakti, which falls under Sanatan Dharma. Like that. Just as under Sanatan Dharma, other paths are also there. Karma, Jnana, Yoga, all these paths also. Those who are yogis, do they fall under Sanatan Dharma or not?
Yes.
Those who are jnanis?
Yes.
Karmakandis? Yes. So it's a broad family under which all these different paths are there. Sanatan Dharma. This way. So Prabhupada takes up that theme in paragraph 6 and 7. You can see. Vedas give universal and axiomatic wisdom. So when we talk about Varnashrama especially, what are 4 Varnas? Who wants to tell? 4 Varnas. You want to tell?
Brahmana,
Brahmana, Kshatriya,
Vaishya, Shudra.
Very nice. Those are 4 varnas. What are 4 ashramas? Haribol. Jai. Brahmachari, Grahasth, Vanaprastha, Sannyas. This is ashrama. So 8 divisions. 4 are social divisions, 4 are spiritual divisions. Which are the social divisions? Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra. What are the spiritual divisions? Brahmachari, Grahasth, Vanaprastha, Sannyas. So Prabhupada would always say, see, this is a universal system. As soon as we talk about Varnashram, people say, many people who have problem with Sanatana Dharma, they say, hey, you people, caste system. You people, you have done lot of trouble with caste system. But Prabhupada would say, see, these varnas are very common. They are universal. They are everywhere. Everywhere in the world you will find some people who are bachelors, some people who get married, some people, they want to pursue the aspect of, spiritual life or God consciousness. And even varnas, Prabhupada would give example in varnas, like in class also, even in school 4 varnas exist. Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra. How is that? There would be always some students who are like very intelligent, and whatever teacher tells, they do the homework, they come very much prepared. They are the first ones to give answer, very quick, like that. Sometimes you find even among students, somebody is there, he is not so much interested in learning subject, but वो आके सबसे पहले classroom साफ कर देगा, सब चकाचक रख देगा. Even the board he will clean nicely, he will keep everything spick and span, and teacher is very happy with him. He may not be so much interested in what's going on discussion, but you will find that his class quiet, and then the teacher comes, this head boy is, sir, I have kept all the class very peaceful, quiet. This is my pencil for all of you, whoever wants it, give me 2 rupees, I will give the pencil. So he started business. Business, this was in 4th standard. This in 4th standard. So now you tell me, the boy who is most intelligent, understanding sharply all the subject, which varna is that? Brahmana. One who keeps spick and span, cleaning first class? Shudra. Shudra. One who is controlling the whole class, discipline, everything? Kshatriya. And pencil wala. Pencil wala kaun hai? Vaishya. Are the traits not universal? They are universal. They are naturally there. So when we talk about Varnashrama, it's actually there everywhere, naturally. Only sometimes they talk about Sanatana Dharma, saying, oh, you people are caste system and all that. So what happened? Varnashrama was actually a very natural system. Slowly it got degraded into caste system, where the whole aspect of born in a certain family became important. Now Brahmana, whom we should call a Brahmana? By birth? Do we decide by birth? So on what criteria we decide?
By quality.
By qualities? Yes. What does Krishna say in Bhagavad Gita? You can decide someone's varna on what?
By quality.
Krishna says 2 things.
Qualities and activities.
Qualities and activities. Very nice. Chatur varnyam maya srishtam guna karma vibhagasha tasya kartaram apimam vidya kartaram avyayam. So guna and karma, on basis of that we decide varna, not on the birth. Somebody may be born in a family that is not Brahmana, but still he is accepted as a Brahmana. What is the example? Any examples where somebody was not born in a Brahman family, but still he was accepted as a Brahmana? Yeah, Haridas Thakur, in fact, much more than Brahmana, greatest of Paramhamsa, right? Advaita Acharya called him for that Shraddha Patra. Advaita Acharya. He said, you are the greatest of Brahmanas, please come, because you are pure devotee of Krishna. This way. But even in Vedic times, see, lot of examples where even we see that Vyasadeva, he was born to whom? He was born to a fisherwoman. Vyasadeva. Vyasadev's mother is Satyavati. So he was born born to a fisherwoman. His father was Parashar, and mother was fisherwoman. But is there anybody greater than Vyasadeva? He is the greatest of all. Vyasadeva. Similarly, many other examples. Suta Goswami, he was born into which family?
Sutta.
Suta family. Now, who are Sutas? Sutas are a mixture of Brahman and Kshatriya family. That's a Suta. Pandavas, yes. So Pandavas, in what sense? Like you meant Pandavas or something else?
I meant the third brother.
Vidura. Oh, very nice. Perfect example. Vidura. See, Vidura, he was born. We see Vyasadev. He was born of Vyasadev, but then he was born to a dasi. He was born to a Shudrani. But who we see Vidur Maharaj, he was so much respected as great Vidura who spoke Niti and all that. So Guna and Karma, that's the point basically, Varnashram. So whenever people talk about this caste system, no, we should immediately quote this. No, the Varna is not decided by birth, it is decided by Guna and Karma. It was open for all to become Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra as they want, depending on what is their Guna and Karma, this way. So Prabhupada is bringing out that point. First of all, he is clarifying that misconception that we are not for caste system and all that. We are actually talking here about the pure system of Varnashrama. When that Varnashrama got degenerated, it became caste system. Where if somebody was born in a certain family, then no entry to temple, no entry to certain parts and all that. So that was all degeneration, degradation that happened this way. So in these two paragraphs, Prabhupada also speaks about the theme of this axiomatic truths. Axiom, even in maths and all we study axioms, right? How many of you have done mathematical proof of 2 plus 2 equal to 4? कितनों ने किया है बताइए इधर. 2 plus 2 equal to 4 इसका प्रूफ किया किसी ने? 10 पेजेस लगता है उसको to prove. Have we done it? Do we accept it? That's called axiom. We all accept it. So certain truths are there which we assume that they are truths. We are not going to go and experiment with everything. They are known as axiomatic truths. Yes, exactly. Yes. So much of in our life we accept by faith, right? Because if we start experimenting with everything, then what is the use of the inventions or research done by the prior people, right? We start going back. So the point is, a lot of knowledge we accept also with faith. So now when it comes to Vedic principles also, Prabhupada is saying, Vedic principles are beyond all defects. So we may do research, but we'll come to the same conclusion finally in Vedic scriptures also. And for that he has given the example of cow dung and also the conch shell. You all know the very famous example Prabhupada speaks. So the wise man will not waste his time doing the research, isn't it? You tell me, if certain part of Veda is right, we talk about this cow dung being pure. So you did the experiment, they came up with antiseptic qualities of cow dung and they proved finally, yes, cow dung is pure. Agree. So once we see that those truths are true, then all other aspects of Vedas, if you see these aspects are right, then the other aspects mentioned in the Vedas like Bhakti, spiritual world, will they be true or not?
Yes.
They will be true, you know. But you see many people, what they do, they take from Vedas the science aspect, the philosophy aspect, and they say, oh, this is very nice. But when you talk about Bhakti and all, they say, no, that we don't know. It may be mythology. So this is what is called Ardha Kukuti Nyaya. Half-hen logic. Half-hen logic, you know, there was one farmer. What is half-hen logic? Who wants to explain? Yes, somebody wants to explain? Half-hen logic. Yes, bro.
So there was a hen, and the farmer was thinking that hen is only eating the mouth and giving the egg from back. Because you just said, okay, the half portion which is giving the egg is very good, but the front portion is taking, I have to spend money. So better to cut it and then take the egg.
Yeah.
Cut it.
Yeah. So I like this portion which gives the egg. Huh? Of course, Vaishnavas don't like eggs. Vaishnavas don't consume anything. This is just the example. I like the portion which gives the eggs because he is getting eggs, the farmer is getting eggs. But he did not like the portion where you have to feed. तो क्या करना है? Cut that portion which you have to feed. तो कुछ मिलने वाला है इधर. He's not going to get anything. So same way, in Vedas, all these people, they say, I like the section where there is science mentioned. I like the places where there is sthapatya, architecture mentioned. Ayurveda, very nice. Everybody wants Ayurveda. It is coming from the same Veda. So from Veda, you take Ayurveda, you take yoga, you take sthapatya, you take all these sciences, and as soon as same Veda is talking about bhakti, you say that is mythology. Hai ke nahi half and logic? It is half and logic purely. You are only choosing which you like and not that other portion in this way. So that's why Prabhupada would say, oh, we don't accept this half and logic. ये नहीं चलेगा. ये ठीक है, वो ठीक नहीं है. This way, right? That word mythology, even Indians use it. It has become so popular, mythology, they'll say. In Indian mythology. As soon as you say mythology, who is going to believe it's a truth, right? That word itself is such a negative word. Mythology is not a good word. We should say in Vedic scriptures. We should say Vedic shastras. But mythology they say. So these terms were also coined by some British Indologists, who wanted to discredit our shastra. So that's how they deliberately spoke these words and all that this way. So we don't do this. We don't do half and logic. If Vedas are speaking perfect science, then the spiritual life is also perfect science. It's just that it's a different kind of science. It's a science where bhakti is a science where you yourself become the object of experiment. देखो science में कैसे होता है? You have this what is the test tube? No, not test tube. In where do you put all the chemicals and all that? Test tube only, right? Yeah, flask, okay, whatever. So, you have some beakers, you have some flasks in which you take the chemicals and put, and then this turns red, that turns white, and you say, well, experiment, very good, it's done. That is science. Now, spiritual science is also like that only. But what had changed is, instead of putting some liquid in some flask, you are the flask. You yourself become the flask, which means when you chant Hare Krishna, when you serve the devotee, so the transformation starts occurring on you. You become the object of experiment. Like when we talk about these principles, that when you serve the devotees, you get joy. Now this is a principle. If you want to put it in practice, this was a theory, do practical. What we will have to do? Serve the Vaishnavas. Yeah? You will have to serve the Vaishnavas. So, the process is exactly like science. Science speaks about theory, it speaks about experiment. Spiritual life is also like that only. It speaks theory, this. If you chant Hare Krishna, this will happen. First, you will go to the Shraddha, then you will come to Sadhu Sang, then Anartha Nivrutti, then, all Nishtha and all these processes. So, if you apply those in life, you will see the results. So, how is it not science? Only thing is, the science where you are performing experiment is called experimental science, and bhakti is called experiential science. Experimental versus experiential. Experience. Experiential science, meaning you yourself perform the experiment by rendering service, by chanting Hare Krishna, in this way. So it is actually a very scientific process. It is not a process which is just telling you, believe or die, have faith, otherwise gone, burn in hell. ऐसा नहीं है. You accept the process, you practice it, you see if the result is coming. If result is coming, you can see that the process is working this way. So that's how the process of bhakti is not blind faith. It's just that it is a process where you have to yourself engage in the process. वो कोई external object पे नहीं है experiment. You yourself have to apply yourself in the process. That's how this is. All right, so that's axiomatic. Axiomatic means you don't waste time in proving that it is right. It is right actually. You just go ahead accepting it. That's an axiomatic truth. And
This can be universal, right?
But
This one which we have right now.
yeah,
Can you say universal means because this is coming from India,
yeah,
because we all are very fortunate to understand this, so we are following.
correct.
But then it comes to other society
Yes,
or so-called other countries.
right,
They may not accept this because this is not part of their culture.
exactly.
So in that case, they may find it absolutely weird to even hear.
Yeah,
So how do we relate that now?
correct. Yes,
Because Srila Prabhupada's vision is to preach
yes,
the entire world. This one,
correct. Yeah, I get it. I get your question. See, when it comes to other religions or other regions, those who don't have that background, so when they hear such thing, how will they see it? That's what is Prabhuji asking, like that. So here we see that the aspect. See, there are different ways you will have to deal in the preaching. So when you meet people who are non-believers in a certain aspect of Veda, in the path of Veda, so we speak to them on the basis of logic, tarka. So tarka, where logic, you speak, okay, what is the conception of God in your system? Now you start speaking on the aspect of sambandha videya prayojan, and then see if that conception of God is, complete conception. Ask those right questions. Okay, we believe that God doesn't have a form, but if he does not have a form, how is he complete? Not having form, is it not a violation of his completeness? If God is complete, then he should have form and he should also be a formless feature. Both the aspects. So how typically in preaching it is done is, when you meet people who cannot take it from the authoritative value of the Vedas, then we speak on the basis of logic and then open up that discussion on that. So when we start talking about conception of God or conception of the process, the goal of life, what is the standard of prayer? How do you pray to the Supreme Lord? Now when we talk about a prayer, okay, oh Lord, give me this, that, whatever, bread, butter, this, that, they talk about. And when we have prayer in which the prayer is completely to please the Supreme Lord. So logically we can see, what prayer is exalted. If I want something material from God, and if I am only interested in serving God, logically which prayer appears to be exalted? The one where we are only interested in serving. So even Lord Chaitanya, when he talked with Buddhas and Jainas, because they don't accept Vedas, he completely spoke on the basis of logic. And once their minds opened on the basis of logic, then he started speaking about, see how Vedas also talk the same thing, and this way. So preaching is certainly a very great skill, and depending on who is in front of us, we can take a different strategy. The best strategy in such cases is to speak on the basis of logic, open up the discussion by talking about something aspect such as this. What is the conception of self in your religion, you can ask. well, our conception of self is this, and then you build upon that, and then you see that there is a scope for discussion over there. So I agree with you, not that everybody will accept it as it is. It's just that, yes, slowly we can take them in a way where then they start appreciating these aspects and all. Makes sense? Yes, makes sense. Okay. All right, so let's go ahead. So now Prabhupada brings up the discussion of Vedic knowledge is superior to Pratyaksha and Anuman knowledge. So this idea is also very clear to all of you, right? You see, someone can read this highlighted portion.
The Vedas are not compilations of human knowledge. Vedic knowledge comes from the spiritual world, from Lord Krishna. Another name for the Vedas is Shruti. Shruti refers to that knowledge which is acquired by hearing. It is not experimental knowledge. Shruti is considered to be like a mother.
Thank you so much, Prabhu. So here is Shruti. Now we have done enough discussion on Shruti, right? Shruti, Smriti, Nyaya. And Prabhupada gives interesting point. Shruti is considered to be like a mother. And this is that famous example. If a boy wants to know, boy or girl, child wants to know who is the father, what is the best way to know?
Who asked the mother?
Ask mother. Very simple. You ask mother, and then mother tells you, this is your father, my dear boy. This is your father. No. I don't believe in any authority. I want to experiment. So imagine if you want to experiment on who your father is. So there is this genetic fingerprinting. So if we start taking that genetic fingerprinting, by the time you will test probably 2-3% of the sample, you will be dead and gone. So generations will continue, like Bhagirath continued getting Ganga. So generations will continue this. Who is ascertaining this person's father? Like that, right? So what is the simplest way? You just ask the mother, and she will tell you who is your father, like that. So that's why Shruti or the scriptural knowledge is considered to be like mother. She is like mother who reveals the knowledge of father this way. So we accept it. It is not necessary to experiment with that particular knowledge. See, there is no question of experimenting like that. And this aspect of faith is there in every walk of life. We see sometimes people feel that they are very reasonable people, but it's not necessary that people are very reasonable. Suppose somebody takes so Prabhupada would say somebody goes to a barber. So now, the guy keeps his head like this, and then the barber can, by the knife can cut off the neck. Is it possible or not?
Yes.
The possibility is rejected or not? It is possible. It can happen. Still the guy gives, his neck with the faith that barber will not do it. So faith, very common. In so many walks of life, the faith is there, right? When we go out, somebody takes the public transport vehicle. Do we every time go and check if the driver is drunk or not? Bhai, tune piye kya? Like that. No, we assume, have faith that maybe the person is not drunk. He may be drunk also, but we have faith. Probably it may not be the case. This way. So faith is needed in every walk of life, like that. See, I am sitting here with the faith that this roof is not going to fall on me. Isn't it? Like that. So if we don't employ faith now, we'll become paranoid. We'll become mad people. We'll be like in every moment, we'll be thinking, I may get a shock. This may fall. This may give me a shock. This may fall on me. So that's how. But we have faith that these things won't happen. But as soon as you talk about faith in God and all, they say, hey, you people are not rational. You are just fanatic. You are just talking about faith. No, we are not just talking about faith. We are talking about faith, first of all, that is reasonable. And second, we are saying we follow the process and test for ourselves whether it is working, whether the process is working or not. So the full Prabhupada would say, no, that the proof of the pudding is in its eating. Pudding, the sweet. So you may hear a lot about sweet. Prabhuji, some nice sweet is there, Mohantal, and you are hearing this sweet is so wonderful, it is delicious and all that. But unless and until you take it and put it in your mouth, it's all a theoretical knowledge. You may do a PhD on Mohantal, but then if you don't eat it, you don't get the taste, you don't know it. So same way, bhakti process, we are not just studying it, but we are also putting it to practice and seeing for ourselves whether the process is working in our life or not. So how is it just mere superstition or faith? It is not. There is theory and there is practice, and we are doing both the aspects. That's why it's a perfect science. It's just that experiential science, as I said, it's a different science that way. So that's how it is. So the Vedas are considered to be mother, and Brahma is called grandfather because he was the first to be instructed in Vedic knowledge. So Prabhupada is saying the Vedas, they are like mother, and there is this whole parampara system in which we get this knowledge. The Vedic knowledge comes down by disciplic succession. So then we can remain assured of the proper knowledge. So you all know about 4 disciplic successions and all that. So it's clear. Then Prabhupada brings up the discussion of Pratyaksha, Anuman and Shabda. You see, Pratyaksha, Anuman, Shabda, and in that the highest is Shabda, Apaurushaya Shabda. The same concept is also spoken in other ways, where we talk about inductive knowledge and deductive knowledge. You have heard these terms, inductive and deductive? Yes. Anyone wants to tell what is inductive knowledge and what is deductive knowledge?
Deductive is coming through disciplic
Succession.
and inductive is experimental.
Yes, exactly. So that same example of mother and child trying to find out what is father, who father is. So if you go start sampling every man by genetic fingerprinting, that is called inductive. ऊपर से नीचे जा रहा है. But another process is you come from top authority to down. Just ask mother, and then you get to know who father is. So that is called as deductive process. So the process of bhakti is deductive process, like that. So that's the point here of Prabhupada. So Vedic knowledge is superior to Pratyaksha and Anuman. That's his discussion, para 8 and 9. And then he takes the Shabda Praman in detail. So you see now next he is explaining the theme. Only way to know about transcendental realm is Vedas. That's the theme of 10, 11 and 12, these paragraphs, this way. Vedic knowledge, you can see this. So I'll ask someone to read this. Please read.
Vedic knowledge is called Sabda. Another name is Shruti. Shruti means that this knowledge has to be received simply by oral reception. The Vedas instruct that in order to understand transcendental knowledge, we have to hear from authorities.
So very clear, Shabda Praman, the process of oral reception, like that. Especially this knowledge is beginning right from Krishna, so that's why it is most authoritative. So please read this now, this section.
In our Krishna consciousness movement, we are accepting knowledge from the highest authority, Krishna. Krishna is accepted as the highest authority by all the classes of men. I am speaking first of the 2 classes of transcendentalists. One class of transcendentalists is called impersonalists plus Mayavadi. They are generally known as Vedantists, led by Shankaracharya. And there is another class of transcendentalists called Vaishnava, like Ramanujacharya, Madhvacharya, Vishnu Swami, both
Shankar Sampradaya.
Shankara Sampradaya and the Vaishnava Sampradaya have accepted Krishna as Supreme Personality of Godhead.
Yeah, so that's the point, Prabhupada's point, that Krishna is accepted as the source of knowledge of Shabda Praman by all. Even the Shankar Sampradaya. Shankaracharya's commentary, Bhagavad Gita, he begins with Narayana Paro Avyaktat. He says that Lord Narayana is beyond even the Brahman. So everybody accepts Krishna as the supreme authority, whether it is Vaishnava Sampradaya or even the other Sampradayas. And that's the source of knowledge when it comes to Shabda Praman. Shankaracharya is supposed to be an impersonalist who preached impersonalism, impersonal Brahman, but it is a fact that he is a covered personalist. He is actually a Vaishnava, he is topmost Vaishnava, who deliberately spoke. So we talked about this particular aspect yesterday. So how Krishna is the source of all the Vedas and he is giving the knowledge, that's the theme over here. And that's why Krishna is the goal also of the Vedas. Prabhupada here speaks about inductive, deductive, so we have discussed this already. So this last theme is now that Krishna is also the goal of this whole Shabda Praman or the Vedas, this way. So you see here, this Krishna consciousness movement is completely authorized from Vedic principles. In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says the actual aim of Vedic research is to find out Krishna. Krishna says this, Sarvasya chaham ridhi sannivishto mattaha smriti jnanam apohanam cha vedaishcha sarver aham eva vedyo. By all the Vedas, who is to be known? Krishna is to be known. So if somebody is studying all the Vedas but is not coming to the conclusion Krishna, then it is defeated, right? Krishna is saying by all the Vedas I am to be known. So studying all the Vedas and taking out different conclusions, it's a problem. One time Prabhupada went to a place where they called him for Bhagavad Gita discussion, And Prabhupada went there and there was no picture of Krishna anywhere. They had kept one lamp and everybody was coming and they were just lighting the lamp. So Prabhupada said, you are keeping Bhagavad Gita discussion, where is Krishna here? There is no Krishna in the whole place. No, Swamiji, what we see is basically the person Krishna is not important in Bhagavad Gita. What is important is what you gain from that knowledge, what you understand. Everybody can understand Gita in different ways. They were like speculators, that kind of thing. So when Prabhupada's turn came to speak, Prabhupada banged on the table and spoke with such fierce that he said, such fierce voice, he said, that what are you talking about? See, he said, you people are like, Krishna is saying, Aham sarvasya prabhavo matta sarvam pravartate. You want to put your hand on Krishna's lips and you want to make him keep quiet and let us speak. So they want to give their own opinion in the name of Krishna. And this is a common phenomenon. See, because Bhagavad Gita is a very nice brand name, no? So you say Bhagavad Gita and whatever you want to say, you will say in it. Prabhupada would say, if you want to write your own view on Bhagavad Gita, at least don't take the name Bhagavad Gita. You just say that my understanding of absolute truth. But as soon as you take Bhagavad Gita, it is like you are using brand name of Krishna and then giving your own opinion. Like that. What is inside is your own idea. But you used very nicely Bhagavad Gita. People seeing Bhagavad Gita, they take it, right? Bhagavad Gita, how many? 1200 commentaries are there on Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita for engineers, Bhagavad Gita for doctors, Bhagavad Gita for housewives, Bhagavad Gita for managers, Bhagavad Gita for professionals. What's going on? Right? Everybody takes their own meaning from Bhagavad Gita. There is one famous Yogacharya in India. And he says, what is the conclusion of Bhagavad Gita, Which verse is the conclusion of Bhagavad Gita? Which verse is conclusion of Bhagavad Gita? Anybody? Sarva dharman parityajya. So Yogiji Maharaj, meaning that yogi, he says the conclusion of Bhagavad Gita is Yuktahar viharasya, yukta cheshtasya karmasu, yukta swapnava bodhasya yogo bhavati dukkha. Eat nicely, eat on time, sleep on time. This way your life will become sublime. This is his conclusion of Bhagavad Gita. So you see, people take Bhagavad Gita and they come up with their own conclusion. They take some verse like that. There is another organization in India which is like it has a great fighting spirit on Bhagavad Gita. So they also say, the conclusion of Bhagavad Gita is what? Where Krishna says, Tasmat uttishta kaunteya yuddhaya krita nishchaya. Hey Arjun, utho aur yuddha karo. That's the conclusion. किसके लिए युद्ध करना है वो कुछ नहीं, just उठो युद्ध करो. Why? Because they are always ready to fight. This way. So this is like taking Bhagavad Gita and giving their own conclusions. You see. So Prabhupada was very much against this. You take the message as it is. You take what Krishna wants to say there. And Krishna is very clear what message he wants to give. Isn't it? Like that. But they want to quiet Krishna. कृष्ण का मुंह बंद करना चाहते और अपना चलाना चाहते. That's why he said like that. And then he gave thorough bashing to all the people there in terms of philosophically. He refuted all of them and established that how Bhagavad Gita is, Krishna is actually the goal of Bhagavad Gita. The actual aim of Vedic research is to find out Krishna. So that's the point actually. We have to come to the conclusion finally that we have to come to the conclusion of Krishna by studying the Vedas. If you want to search out Krishna by studying the Vedic literatures, then you will be baffled. But it may be possible, but it is very difficult. But you can very easily learn about him from his devotee. So he finally speaks also about hearing from the spiritual master, hearing from the devotees. So in the last part, he also gives some history of Vedas and essence. So previously there was only one Veda. Previously there was only one Veda. In the 3 yugas, there is only one Veda called Yajur Veda. And then Vyasadeva is the one who divides it at the end of the Dwapar Yuga and makes it into 4. Otherwise, originally there was only one Yajur Veda in which everything was included that way. So it is again for the purpose of Kali Yuga people that they can understand. So he made it very, very simple this way. You can see. Vyasadeva, he knew that eventually the people would be short-lived. Their memories would be very poor and their intelligence would not be very sharp. So that is why Vyasadeva, he put the Vedas in writing. You can see this way. So he's telling the aspect of Vedic history in the end, and that's how he is ending like that. So last aspect is, we Gaudiya Vaishnavas have our commentary in Vedanta philosophy called Govinda Bhashya. Yesterday we spoke about it. Ramanujacharya has a commentary, Madhvacharya has one. The version of Shankaracharya is not the only commentary. There are many Vedanta commentaries, but because Vaishnavas did not present the first Vedanta commentary, people are under the wrong impression that Shankaracharya's is the only Vedanta commentary. Shankaracharya wrote the first Vedanta commentary, Sharirak Bhashya. So sometimes people say Vedanta is the monopoly of Mayavadis. But it is not like that. Vedanta is studied also by Vaishnavas, especially Srimad Bhagavatam, which is natural commentary on Vedanta. So that idea also Prabhupada is sharing here. History of Vedas and Vedic essence. So in this way, this introduction, you can see these are the themes. Prabhupada began with discussion of 4 defects, and that's why we need the Vedas which are perfect. How those Vedas give universal and axiomatic wisdom. This Vedic knowledge is Shabda Praman, and that's why it is superior to Pratyaksha and Anuman. Why it is superior? Because Krishna is the source of that knowledge. And if Krishna is the source of knowledge, when you study on the basis of scripture, you should come to that conclusion, Krishna only. Krishna is the ultimate goal of the Vedas. And then finally, he tells that how these Vedas, formerly it was one and it was divided by Vyasadeva. So these are his themes that he is covering in introduction. So I am going to share this PPT with all of you. You may write down if you wish, but I will also give this, because when you revisit these purports, then you can use those themes this way. So that completes the discussion of overview or rather introduction, So we should take some break, 5 minutes, and then we will continue. Anyone has any questions? You may ask any questions on this discussion, if any. Yes, Mataji.
जैसे आप बता रहे थे, you were sharing कि वर्णाश्रम का जो विभाजन था वो कर्म और
गुण के ऊपर
के बेस पे था, लेकिन इन महाभारत में सी कि जैसे द्रोणाचार्य he was the guru of पांडवास एंड कौरवास, लेकिन उनके बेटे में तो ये क्वालिटी नहीं थी, अश्वत्थामा में फिर भी उनको वो रेस्पेक्ट क्यों दी जा रही थी? Just because वो गुरु पुत्र थे.
Yes. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. What happened? Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Yes. Yes. So we see that, yes, in Mahabharata, Ashwatthama was getting that respect just because he was Guru Putra, although he was not qualified. So Lord Krishna also in Bhagavatam calls him as Dvija Bandhu. Dvija Bandhu is actually one who is not a qualified Dvija. He is just a relative of a Brahmana. He is not a Brahmana himself. So Krishna also calls him as Dvija Bandhu. Even other Pandavas call him in that manner because his qualities did not match. But still, as a custom, he was being offered the respect because he was Guru's son. So he was being offered that respect as a custom, like that. But if we see, was Ashwatthama really a Brahmana? He was not. He was not a Brahmana. So the overall conduct of Vaishnavas or conduct of society may still allow him to get some respect because he was son of a Brahmana, like Dronacharya. But factually speaking, yes, we don't say that he had Brahminical qualities. No, he did not have. And that's why Krishna wanted that he should be punished. And Krishna made sure that he was punished also. Right? Arjuna punished Ashwatthama. He took away his money and he also humiliated in other ways Ashwatthama. So if he was a Brahmana, would Lord Krishna have allowed that kind of behavior towards him? He would not have allowed. But Lord Krishna allowed that because he knew that Ashwatthama's behavior is not like a Brahmana. But still, because he was Guru's son and Draupadi was very insistent that we should treat him with, like Draupadi, because, as a Guru Putra. So just out of Vaishnava heart, she wanted to protect him. So then Arjuna accomplished both the purposes by humiliating him. He pleased Bhima and he followed instruction of Krishna by punishing him, but at the same time he pleased Draupadi also by not killing Ashwatthama. So that's how the arrangement was done. Yes. So what you are telling is right. He may be receiving some respect out of goodness, because of goodness of Pandavas. Because they are good in their nature. Draupadi is good in their nature, her nature. But not necessary that because of that he should be seen as a... Otherwise, why would Krishna punish him? No? Krishna would not punish him. But Krishna punished him severely. In fact, he punished him in such a way that for the entire Manvantara he is going to suffer in that condition. He is roaming around suffering in that condition. So Krishna gave that punishment. So that's how it is. You understand?
So they did not consider him a Brahmana.
So that's what, like, they gave him a respect of Brahmana, but they considered that this is actually not a Brahmana. He is a Dvija Bandhu. He is lower than a Brahmana, this way. So that's why they dealt with him in that manner. But if you see the way they dealt with other people like Dhaumya or like that, who were qualified Brahmanas, that was not, they worshipped their feet this way. So that's how. Dronacharya's was very special case, the way he was killed. That was because before that only a lot of cheating had started in Mahabharata. So even Krishna approved that. So then the whole thing. So Mahabharata is a different subject anyway. But the point is, certain events of Mahabharata were approved by Krishna. He allowed that to happen because Krishna wanted to show that if you cheat my devotees, then I am the greatest cheater. Krishna's nature is more like, he is not like Ramachandra. Ramachandra is very straightforward and simple, right? Krishna is थोड़े टेढ़े है भगवान, खड़े भी रहते हैं टेढ़े, है कि नहीं? तो भगवान Krishna is like this, tit for tat. If शठे शाठ्यम प्रकुर्वित, आप शठ हो तो फिर मैं महाशठ हूँ. So was it difficult for Arjuna to kill Karna when he was fighting on the chariot? He could have killed Karna. He before defeated Karna many times. In Virat, he had defeated Karna. Even when that Chitrarath Gandharva attacked, that time also, Arjuna only saved Karna and these people. But still Krishna made Arjuna to kill him when he was taking out chariot only. Because he said, no, I want to show to the whole world that if you cheat my devotee, you will find greatest cheater in me. So, you see the way he deals is very different, Krishna. And that's why sometimes people misunderstand also. But he is like that. You cheat my devotees, then now you see how I'll cheat you. This way. So this is how Krishna dealt with many events in Mahabharata. This way. Your question was originally for Ashwatthama, but I just added these things, aspects. Yeah. Hare Krishna. Prabhu, you want to ask anything? You want to ask anything? Okay. We should stop at 8:30 or 8:45? Okay. Because I will end the discussion of this invocation, certainly. It's just 4 or 5 paragraphs. It will be over. Yeah. Prabhu, somebody can help with this? How to put this? Yes, Prabhu, you ask your question.
So, what is the meaning of this Vedanta? We are hearing a lot about Vedanta, and the understanding is the Vedanta is the summary of all the Vedas, or what is the meaning of this word Vedanta?
Yeah. Hare Krishna. See, Prabhu, Vedanta, what is the meaning? Vedas primarily speak about, a lot of Vedas primarily speak about material fulfillment. Get some material pleasures by performing yajna, karmakand, that kind of. Vedanta, it starts speaking about goal beyond the material world. That is Vedanta. So in Upanishads, all those material pleasures and all those are not given much importance. And Upanishads start speaking about who Lord is, what is your relationship with the Lord, what is the real goal of life. So that is Vedanta. Brahma Vidya jisko bolte hai na, it is talking about the aspect of who the living entity is, what is his relationship with the Supreme Lord, what is the goal of life, how to transcend the material world. That is Vedanta. This way. So basically what we study in our scriptures, Bhagavad Gita and all, that is Vedanta only. That is Vedantic subject. But within the Vedas, a lot of topic is for Karmakand. So this last section, especially Upanishads, it is focused on that aspect. Talk about what is the living entity, what is the relationship between Lord and living entity, and all this. So Bhakti is Brahma Vidya only. Actually speaking, what the path of Bhakti is Brahma Vidya. But the path of Karmakand, will we call it Vedanta? Karmakand will not call Vedanta. So Vedant means bare minimum qualification Vedant ki ye hoti hai ki you start talking about going beyond material world. Then you are now talking Vedanta. Before that it is not Vedanta. It is plain Karmakand kind of topic. So this is what it is. So in bhakti, do we talk about transcending material world or not? We talk. So is bhakti Vedanta or not? That's why Prabhupada is Bhakti Vedanta. His Divine Grace Abhay Charna Ravinda Bhakti Vedanta Swami Prabhupada. Because we want to study Vedanta, which is Bhakti Vedanta. This way. So Vedanta word का क्या हो गया है? Monopoly. It has become monopoly of Mayavadis. They think that we are the Vedanti. Bhaktas are sentimental guys. बेचारे भोले भाले भक्त, ठीक है, उनको कुछ करने दो भक्ति वक्त. ज्ञान हम लोग हैं हमारे पास, हम वेदांती है ऐसे. तो प्रभुपाद जी बंगाली में बोलते थे वेदांती वर्ड. इफ बंगाली इज प्रोनाउंस, देन हाउ विल दे प्रोनाउंस? वेदांती. सो वेदांती मतलब जिसके दांत तोड़ दिए, वेदांती. बेगाना बोलते ना लोग, वेदांती. तो प्रभुपाद बोलते थे कि प्रभुपाद की स्टाइल है ना बोलने की, तो बोलते थे वी शुड टेल दिस वेदांतीज. So he used to say that they think that they are the knowledgeable people, they have full access to Brahma Vidya and all that. But actually Bhakti, that also has Vedanta aspect. Within Bhakti we are also discussing what is soul, what is Ishvara, what is material world, what are the 5 topics of Bhagavad Gita? Ishvara, Jiva, Prakriti, Kala, Karma. So are we not discussing as devotees? So why do you say that, why do they say that only we are Vedantis? So Bhaktas are the, in fact, greatest Vedantis, Bhakti Vedantis. So that's the idea of Vedanta. All right, bro? Somebody asked? You asked. Okay, clear, no? Yes. So if someone is not talking about that aspect of transcending material world, no, Prabhu, then it's not called Vedanta. Then the topic is not Vedanta. It is something else than Vedanta. It may be Karma Kand or something else, Upasana Kand or something. This way. Okay. Invocation. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnam Mudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. All right, translation someone can read.
The personality of Godhead is perfect and complete. The personality of Godhead is perfect and complete. And because He is completely perfect, all emanations from Him, such as this phenomenal world, are perfectly equipped as complete wholes. Whatever is produced of the complete whole is also complete in itself. Because He is the complete whole, even though so many complete units emanate from Him, He remains the complete balance.
All right. So this is a famous invocation, Shanti Mantra. So every Upanishad begins with Shanti Mantra. हर उपनिषद में शुरुआत में शांति मंत्र होता है. तो अभी भी उपनिषद हमारा शुरू नहीं हुआ है, अभी भी शांति मंत्र पे है. दिस इज ऑल्सो नॉट येट उपनिषद बिगिन, ओनली एट मंत्र 1 इट विल बिगिन. सो डोंट वरी, we will complete. So now also it is Shanti Mantra. So why Shanti Mantra is there in the beginning? Because you are embarking on the study of Vedanta. So the Upanishad is telling, first of all, you become peaceful. Shanti. You are going to begin this great study of Upanishad. Or if you are thinking, क्या बॉस मेरे को परेशान कर रहा है, boss is troubling me, or husband is thinking my wife is troubling me so much, or wife is thinking husband is troubling me, employee is thinking boss is troubling, boss is thinking employee is troubling. What they will study Vedanta, right? In Vedanta they are going to remember all these things only. So Vedanta is saying, first of all, offer this Shanti Mantra and become quiet, peaceful. So that's why the Shanti mantras, they are there to calm your mind and also seek, this auspiciousness and peace for everyone who is studying with you. So different Upanishads have different Shanti mantras. You must have heard the other one also. Sahana vavatu, sahanau bhunaktu, sahaviryam karavavahai, tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. This is also very famous Shanti mantra. This is the Shanti mantra of Kathopanishad, one of the other Upanishads. This one is the Shanti mantra of ईशोपनिषद और बृहदारण्यक उपनिषद. ऐसे और बहुत सारे शांति मंत्र है which are recited in the beginning. So 3 times it is said at the end of Shanti mantra, Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Because 3 kinds of Shantis are needed in our life. Adi Bhautik Shanti, Adi Daivika Shanti and Adhyatmik Shanti. Right? That's why 3 times we say Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Like that. Because when we sit to study, you are going to study Ishopnishad, and then Adhyatmik Shanti is needed, right? Because body is saying, Arey, bahut peet dukh raha hai. Or mind is saying, Kya Prabhuji, bahut too much, it is philosophy, I think I will not continue. The mind may be saying this, right? Or the mind may be saying that, actually, I did not take lunch today. My stomach is crying, I have to take prasadam. At least today Prabhuji doesn't extend, hopefully. The mind may be saying all this. Adhyatmik Shanti. So you first need to calm down from the body and mind aspect and all that. So it's a prayer seeking that Shanti. Or sometimes there is Adi Bhautik Shanti needed, because as I said, so many people may be cause of some misery to us, right? Living entities may be cause of misery, right? In some place, like this is a very wonderful place with, first class arrangement. It looks like a Nikunja, Nikunja in Vrindavan, some forest grove in Vrindavan, like that. So very beautiful place. But if somebody is sitting in a place where there are mosquitoes, or where there are other disturbances from other living beings, or there are mosquito-like people around you, right? So the point is, then you need Adi Bhautika Shanti also. And finally, Adi Daivika Shanti also, right? Imagine if somebody wants to study or, understand Shastra and all that, but then there is earthquake, Myanmar, lot of earthquake happening this time. So if there is earthquake, like what are you going to say? Purnat, Purnam, Udachyate, Purnas, hey, get up. We have to vacate, leave, like that, right? So Adi Bhautika also. So for that purpose, the Shanti mantras, it's a prayer beseeching the Lord that, okay, my Lord, let my mind and body and consciousness be peaceful to receive this knowledge. That's the prayer, this way. So prayer is, you see, typically the Upanishads, they begin with Omkar. Omkar, Om. You know what is the meaning of Om? Many times when we talk about Om, so people feel like, oh, Mayavadi chant Om, we don't chant Om. Right? But when we say Om, or A-U-M, Omkar is basically Akara, Ukara and Makara. These 3 letters are there, A-U-M or A-U-M. Akara, which means A, Ukara means U, and Makara means Ma. So what is the meaning of these 3 letters? Akarena Uchate Vishnuho. Akar shows Lord Vishnu. Ukarena Shri Ruchate. Ukar shows Shriji, meaning Mother Lakshmi or Radharani, Krishna. There is a verse similar for Krishna also. Akarena Krishnocchate, Ukarena tu Shri Radha. Makarena tu Anayodasas Panchavimsha Prakartitaha. Makara shows all the living entities. Living entities who are servants of living entities as servants of Shri Vishnu and Lakshmi or Shri Radha and Shri Krishna. That's the meaning of Omkar actually. And what I quoted is from Padma Puran. Padma Puran explains this. So when Vaishnava says Om, so he doesn't worry that, oh, this is some Mayavadi chant or like that. No. Pranava is most auspicious sound. Just as our Hare Krishna Mahamantra is there, similarly Omkar is also very auspicious sound. It's just that as Vaishnavas we prefer it shows Krishna or Vishnu with all his energies. That's Omkar actually. So that's why typically all the Upanishads and all, they begin with Omkar, because they are invoking the auspicious presence of Lord and his energies. Omkar. Om Namo Bhagavate, yes, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, right? So that's how, that's Omkar. So here the verse is saying Purnam Adaha, that is complete. Adaha means that. That is complete. This is complete. And because this has come from that, so whatever comes from that complete also remains complete. This is complete, that is complete. Even though this complete has come from that, still it remains complete. That's the literal meaning. So you would say, kya hai ye, this, that, this is complete, that is complete. What does that mean? Right? So Prabhupada in translation, he is helping us out by keeping that this, that properly he is explaining it. Supreme Lord is complete and the material world is also complete. So this is his mercy that he is explaining it right there. Otherwise, if he would have translated the text as it is, the text would mean like this. That is complete, this is complete. Although this complete has come from that complete, still that remains complete. So what is that? Right? That is the treasury of the state. This is my treasury. So from that treasury of the state, this has come. What meaning we should take, right? Exactly. Like that. So the meaning is actually given by Prabhupada. That is complete means Supreme Lord is complete. This is complete means this material world is complete. So from complete Supreme Lord, complete material world has come. तो आप देखिए यहाँ पे इतना पानी है. If I take off some water, so the water will be depleted from this glass or not? Yes. But from the Supreme Lord, when the material world comes, is there some depletion in the Supreme?
No.
It remains complete. There is no depletion. Like even in mathematics, infinity minus 1.
Infinity.
Infinity plus 1.
Infinity.
Infinity plus infinity.
Infinity.
Infinity minus infinity.
Zero.
तो मैथ्स में सही है तो फिर इधर तो स्पिरिचुअल लाइफ है. Why not? Right? Even in maths we see that it is a fact. So here Lord is obviously infinity, infinite. So although everything comes from him, still everything remains complete. Krishna is complete and the material world is also complete. That's the point. So now we are going to see how Krishna is complete and the material world is also complete. These are very wonderful points. But before that, so as we are learning now about this particular Upanishad, so here I have some points on invocation. So Ishopanishad is the last chapter of Shukla Yajurveda. Shukla Yajurveda. Yajurveda is, see basically I was saying, no, every Upanishad, it comes under some Veda. So Shukla Yajurveda is that Yajurveda in which this particular Upanishad comes in. This Ishopanishad. And It is the last chapter of that Veda. Shukla Yajur Veda has how many chapters? 40. Out of which the last chapter is this particular Ishopanishad. Before that, first 39 chapters, they deal with Karma Kand, and this particular chapter deals with Jnana Kand. Jnana Kand because it is talking about Vedanta aspect. You understand? So Shukla Yajurveda and Krishna Yajurveda, these are two types of Yajurveda. You could, why are they? Okay, it's a different meaning there. Yajurveda, Krishna and Shukla, these names are there because of the way it is structured actually. It is not anything to do with the fortnight. The way it is structured. The distribution in Krishna Yajurveda, it is little unclear. The prose, poetry, the Samhitas, Brahmanas, they are all mixed up. While Shukla Yajurveda is very clear in that distribution. So don't worry about it. It's just that you understand Shukla Yajurvedas, this particular Upanishad comes in Shukla Yajurveda. So that's I think one of the questions also for you. This particular Upanishad belongs to which Yajurveda?
So out of 4 Vedas, someone asked if it is a part of Yajurveda.
Yajurveda, that's the point. Yeah, this one is part of Yajurveda. Just like you take Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, that is also part of Yajurveda. So this way, like that. Fine. Who spoke? Who was the sage of this particular Ishopanishad? So as I said, Dadhyancha Muni. Dadhyancha Muni, like that. Dadhyancha Muni was the sage. And this Upanishad is also famous because what happened? This Upanishad was sung by Swayambhu Manu when one time he was praying and all these demons attacked him. This incident is mentioned in 8th canto of Bhagavatam. Swayambhu Manu, you know? Swayambhu Manu is whose son? Brahma's son, Swayambhu Manu. Swayambhu Manu is the Prajapati of all the Manavas. We are all Manu's descendants. So we are known as Manava. So Swayambhu Manu, one time he was praying to the Supreme Lord and these demons attacked him. So that time Swayambhu Manu, he offered the prayers of this Ishopanishad in his own words. He offered the prayers and then all the demons were killed by Lord's mercy, Lord Yagya's mercy. So this particular Ishopanishad is very popular because it was repeated by Swayambhu Manu. So some of the devotees, they have this misunderstanding that Swayambhu Manu is the Rishi of this scripture. I can see that maybe you can find that information in some books also, but it is not correct actually. Swayambhu Manu is not the seer or the sage of this Ishopanishad. Who is the sage? Dadhichi Muni is the sage. And Swayambhu Manu, he just repeated those prayers in his own words. That's why if you go in Bhagavatam and study, you will find that these same verses, they are written with somewhat change. Like here it is, Isha Vasyamidam Sarvam. What is there? Atma Vasyamidam Sarvam. You know that, 8th cantos. Yeah. So why is that? Because he rephrased the prayers and sang. That's the difference. That way. So the only point that I want to tell you here is Lord Hari or Lord Vishnu is the Devata of this particular Ishopanishad. Paramatma is the Devata or Lord Hari is the Devata, and the sage is Dadhyancha, like that. So the prayers are being made by Dadhyancha. They are being revealed by the Dadhyancha. And they are being made to whom? Who is being prayed? Lord Hari or Vishnu is being prayed for. These are the prayers for Lord Hari or Paramatma or Vishnu. Basically, they can refer to Vishnu or Krishna in this way, like that. So that's the point. All right. We talked about this. So this particular verse, Om Purnamidam, this is not part of Ishopanishad, but it is consistent with the theme of Ishopanishad's further topics. Like that. So we saw that Shanti mantras, they are not part of Ishopanishad exactly. Shanti mantra is a beginning prayer. The next verse is actually the beginning of Ishopanishad. And that's why Ishopanishad is known as Ishopanishad, because it begins with the verse Isha. How does the next verse begin? Ishavasyam. So that's why Ishopanishad, because it begins with Isha. It does not begin with Om Purnamidam. Purnamidam, Purnat Budachyate. This is what mantra?
Shanti mantra.
This is Shanti mantra. This is not actual Upanishad. Actual Upanishad is beginning from Ishavasyam Idam Sarvam. So that's why it is known as Ishopanishad or Ishavasya Upanishad. This way, like that. Okay. So we have discussed these themes. Now let's take the themes of this particular shloka. It's a very short explanation Prabhupada gives, so we'll end it quickly. It will be over. See, invocation overview. This is invocation. So there are only 5 paragraphs here, and first paragraph, Prabhupada has the theme, Supreme Personality of Godhead is the complete absolute truth. Prabhupada begins with that theme. SPOG is Supreme Personality of Godhead. Okay, some short forms. Short forms are very famous in the devotees, right? KC. What is KC?
Krishna consciousness.
DS.
Devotional service.
Devotional service. SPOG.
The Supreme Personality of God.
So we have our own, shorthands, right? Short forms. And they become very famous because when people are listening or they are reading something, they say, Kya ye KC, DS, all these short forms like that. So many short forms, they keep on coming. SP. SP is very famous. Srila Prabhupada, SB. Srimad BG, CC. Like goes on, right? Goes on and on and on. Short forms. CC. Right? CC. Chaitanya Charitamrita. Yes, all. Okay, so the first paragraph's theme is Supreme Personality of Godhead is complete absolute truth. Because the verse is beginning by saying Purnam Adaha, that is complete. So that is what? What is the meaning of that? Supreme Lord. So Prabhupada begins his purport with Supreme Lord is complete. Then next line is saying Purnam Idam, this is also complete. So that's why Prabhupada begins his purport. Material world is complete. That is complete meaning Supreme Lord is complete. This is complete means material world is complete. Then he has additional themes where he says, how is this material world complete? Let's analyze. So human form offers complete facility. So this is all explanation of that material world is complete. These are additional points that he is making. Sense gratification is illusory completeness. And finally, devotional service is the real completeness. So these are the themes. And let's see now how Prabhupada explains these themes very wonderfully. So first theme is Supreme Personality of Godhead is the complete absolute truth. So you can see here in his paragraph. So can someone read this highlighted portion?
The complete whole or the supreme absolute truth is the complete personality of Godhead. Realization of impersonal Brahman or of Param Atma, the super soul, is incomplete realization of the absolute complete. The supreme personality of Godhead is Sat Chit Anand Vigraha. Realization of impersonal Brahman is realization of his Sat feature or his aspect of eternity. And Paramatma realization is realization of his Sat and Chit features. His aspects of eternity are knowledge. But realization of the personality of Godhead is realization of all the transcendental features, Sat, Chit and Anand, bliss.
That's it, Mataji. Yeah, thank you. So Prabhupada is beginning this discussion when the Upanishad is saying, meaning the Shanti mantra, that okay, let's hear about this absolute truth now. This absolute truth which is complete from him, whatever comes, that material world is also complete. So Prabhupada says, okay, let's first talk about how is Supreme Lord or this complete whole is complete, Supreme Absolute Truth is complete. So there are three features of absolute. You have heard about this: Brahman, Paramatma and Bhagavan. There are three features: Brahman, Paramatma and Bhagavan. You know. So Brahman feature is that particular feature where you only talk about Sat feature, the existence. Then Paramatma feature is where you talk about Sat and Chit aspect, and Bhagavan feature is Sat, Chit and Anand aspect. So I'll give an example for this. It's very easy to understand, you know, how these conceptions are understood. So if you see, if somebody goes to a musical concert, so musical concert is like, you know, very pleasurable phenomenon, right? So many beautiful singers, so many beautiful instruments, and they're singing melodiously. It's all a very classical experience like that. But imagine somebody who does not understand anything about music. Such a person went to musical concert. Usko kuch nahi samajhta hai. You know, when that person is doing, he is saying, usko kya bhook lagi hai kya? Is he hungry or what? Give him some food. The person doesn't understand anything about musical concert. So the whole concert happened, people were clapping, some were, you know, having tears in their eyes, enjoying. And then this person who doesn't understand a thing about music, you asked him, what was happening inside the auditorium? So the person says, well, I heard some sounds. That's all. मैंने कुछ आवाजें सुनी, like that. I heard some sounds. So in that beautiful concert, musical performance, what all he perceived is only sound. वो sound छोड़ के कुछ उसने perceive नहीं किया. He is saying, I heard some sound, you know, like that. But is the musical concert only sound? It is much more than that, right? So if somebody is more trained in music and all, the person not only heard sounds, but he heard the instruments. Violin, sitar was there, violin was there, tabla was there, mridangam was there, flute was there. So many wonderful musical instruments that way. And that person has relished the concert more than somebody who has only heard the sound. And then finally somebody who can sing or play like all those guys, how much he will enjoy. उसको तो पता है कि इसको कैसे बजाते हैं, कैसे ये फ्लूट वाले ने बीच में उठाया, अरे क्या उठाया इसको, एकदम. And then, you know, in between sitar person, वाह मजा आ गया, like that. And ये sound वाला देख रहा है उसको, इसको क्यों मजा आ रहा है इतना, right? मुझे तो मजा नहीं आ रहा. उसको आप पूछ रहे हो कि क्या सुना, तो वो बोलता है हाँ कुछ आवाजें सुने, like that. The problem is, you are not a rasika. You don't have taste for it. You have not qualified yourself by the knowledge of that subject. That's why this whole thing is, it's just a dry thing for you. So similarly, now bring this concept to the absolute truth. Those who see only, what is absolute truth? Absolute truth is existence. That's all. They can only talk about existence. That's it. That is absolute truth. But what does that absolute truth? No, it doesn't do anything. Pure, it just exists. So that conception where you only talk about absolute truth, devoid of any form, qualities, attributes. आप पूछोगे वो जो भगवान है उनका क्या रूप है? नहीं, उनका कोई रूप नहीं, उनका कोई रंग नहीं है, उनका कोई, उनकी बस सत्ता है, मीनिंग द लॉर्ड ओनली एग्जिस्ट्स. So that person is considered the lowest in understanding of the absolute. That is the Brahman feature actually. Brahman feature is a basic understanding of absolute truth. That absolute truth is everywhere, it exists like that. But then higher than that is to understand that absolute truth resides in my heart. He has 4 hands, he holds Shankha Chakra Gada Padma, and he is there in my heart. He is the one who creates the universe and everything. So now you have understood something much more higher than that person who only thinks about how absolute truth is existing everywhere. So this second aspect, that Lord is residing in my heart, what is this level of realization? Paramatma level of realization. He has gone second. And the highest are the third people, where they understand that Lord is not only in the heart, but He can come in front of me. If I can serve Him by my service, if I offer a pure service, that Lord will appear in front of Him. I can touch Him. I can serve Him. Paramatma you can't serve. With Paramatma there is only one aspect. What is that? You can only meditate on Paramatma. परमात्मा की कोई सेवा नहीं होती है, सिर्फ मेडिटेशन होता है उन, इसलिए वो योगी बैठा रहता है. You can't serve Paramatma. You can only meditate on Paramatma. But the Bhagavan feature is where you can serve the Lord. That Lord, when we are practicing bhakti, we can serve Him as a deity. And that same Lord, when He manifests in front of us, when we become pure, then we can serve His direct form also. Right? Like for great devotees, He manifests that form. And then they can serve. So those devotees can touch the Lord, they can serve the Lord, they can get the experience of Lord's fragrance and everything. So these are like those first class enjoys of concert. They understand everything about Supreme Lord and all that. We talked about that guy, when he said what was happening in the auditorium. So he said, I heard some sound. So in Brahman, Paramatma, Bhagwan, who will that person correspond to? Brahman feature. वो बस उसने कुछ ज़्यादा समझा नहीं है. Although the whole performance was going on, what he perceived is very little. So similarly, although Supreme Lord is actually absolute truth, what the Brahmavadis perceive is a very small aspect, that the Lord is everywhere. He exists everywhere. That's all they perceive. How is that form? What is the sound of Lord? How does He look like? Can we render service? Kuch nahi. They don't talk about that aspect. Bas sarvatra Bhagavan hai, sarvavyapi, nirvishesh, like that they will speak. What are you going to do? Nahi, kuch karna hi nahi hai. Everywhere He is. And this way, this is how they speak. So there is no service, there is no recognition of His form and all that. So that's why they are considered to be distant people actually. When you are standing in front of Absolute, they are the people who are at the greatest distance, because they are seeing only very simple understanding of Absolute. Vishwanath Chakravarti gives an example of, suppose somebody from a distance sees a mountain, so you just see a green lump, imagine whatever the trees and all that, just a green lump. So what is a mountain? If you ask him, वो क्या बोलेगा?
The green lump.
It's a green lump. Mountain is a green lump. But somebody went little bit near to the mountain, then he saw that, well, on the mountain the trees are there, people are there, the houses are there are so many people staying there. So the person has better understanding of the mountain, isn't it? So you ask him, what is a mountain? Well, mountain is a lot of people, trees, beautiful bushes, flowers, people and all that. And the third person, he is not just standing in front of mountain, वो तो mountain पे जाके उन लोगों के साथ बैठ के, he is sitting there, eating, dancing, enjoying, like that. So who has the best understanding of mountain?
The person who is sitting, eating.
The person who is sitting, eating, going to them and all that, right? See, all are seeing the same mountain, but one has a limited understanding, another one has more perfect, and the last one has most perfect understanding. So same way, the Brahmavadis, Bhaktas and Yogis, they are looking at the same absolute truth. But Brahmavadis sees only that aspect of absolute as that which exists everywhere. So that is like The most distant person or the closest person? The most distant person. Then the Paramatmavadi or yogi, he knows about Lord, that he exists in my heart and I can meditate on him. This person is the one who is situated on the mountain or just at a shorter distance, short distance. And the devotee who is serving the Lord, dancing, for the Lord, in fact, once he becomes qualified, he goes and joins in the spiritual world. Who is this person compared to? The one who can go on the mountain, reside there, eat, dance nice, happily. So you see, you are talking about the same mountain, but it's a different revelation. So same way, the same absolute truth is understood in 3 levels. In Anand Vrindavan Champu, who is Anand Vrindavan Champu? Kavi Karnapur. Kavi Karnapur gives very nice example. Thoda sweetness se end karte hai. We are ending, so let's end with some sweetness. बहुत ज़्यादा philosophy हो रही है, right? So Radha Rani, she is a very expert cook, and Kavi Karnapur explains how Radha Rani cooks. So when Radha Rani cooks, simultaneously she cooks on 50 stoves, 50 stoves पे. सारे stoves पे there are different items. She is not cooking the same item. हर जगह पे एक ही चल रहा है, बेसन का लड्डू. So she is cooking all different items, which gives all different tastes. There are 6 different tastes. So she is cooking item, and so she goes from one stove to another, and every item she cooks to the perfect degree, and all of them get prepared at one point of time, when she cooks. So she goes from one stove to another. There are devotees, there are gopis to help her, but she is like so expert. ऐसे नहीं, here she is making some item, and there she is making item. तो यहाँ पे नमक डालना था, उधर नमक डाल दिया, और इधर sugar डाल दी. अरे इधर था क्या sugar? Not like that. Every single item. Of course, she is Radha Rani, so you can imagine this way. So when those items, when the cooking is done, Anand Vrindavan Champu, Kavi Karnapur says, when you cook an item, there should be 4 aspects in that cooking. I think I have spoken here also. There should be 4 aspects in the cooking, like that. So he says, what are those aspects? 4 aspects: fragrance, sight, touch and taste. Cooking, first and foremost, the fragrance should be there. The item should have the appropriate fragrance. नहीं तो फिर smell से ही पता चल जाता है गड़बड़ हो गई है, right? Sometimes somebody cooks and then it's gone. Why? Because fragrance उधर ही पता चल गया. So after that, the sight also should be perfect. Chapati है तो it is supposed to be round, right? If you start making maps of the countries in chapati, right? The sight, you may say, अरे प्रभु चपाती है, थोड़ा बस कुवैत का नक्शा बन गया, ठीक है, it's okay, like that, that's okay. But still, sight, so it should also look like that item. Then third one is touch. When you touch it, then it should be perfect, right? Sometimes you make papad and you touch it, it's like chapati. And sometimes you touch chapati, it's like papad. Right? So कि गड़बड़ हो गई करके. एक बार मुझे एक लड्डू दिया एक ने, मैं उसको फोड़ ही नहीं पाया. The लड्डू. I am telling literally, I brought the hammer, still I could not break. So I said next day called up Prabhuji and I said that, what, you want me to, it was an exercise for my teeth or what? Why? Arey Prabhuji, Arey Prabhu, something went wrong with recipe. I got 10 calls from yesterday. He was saying, sometimes it happens, right? Understandable. But touch, the item should also touch, in touch it should be perfect. And finally the taste. It should perfect. The taste is the final crescendo. When you put it in the mouth, rasgulla, so nice. Otherwise sometimes, halwa, you put. Why? What, Prabhuji? Kya dal diya here, right? Like, why? Because halwa is, Mataji has made halwa with salt. Like that. Probably she had some quarrel with Prabhuji, like that. It can happen, I am saying, sometimes. So, Anand Vrindavan Champu says that when Radharani cooks on all these 50 stoves, when those 50 items come out, fragrance, sight, touch and taste, everything is just perfect, like that. It is just perfect. In fact, there is a very beautiful Leela of Radharani when she cooked first time for Krishna in Anand Vrindavan Champu. Sometimes on Radhashtami day, I share that Leela. Very beautiful Leela. It's just ecstasy, pure ecstasy, Madhumangal is there and how he, is looking at every item. So, he starts looking at items which Radharani has made and he is so much delighted. Madhumangal likes to eat, So he's so much delighted. He's like jumping up and down. So Krishna says, "Arey, keep, be peaceful. They will think like we don't get to eat." They have come as a guest to the house of Kirtida. So, do you get to eat or not? Why you are doing like this? Yashodamaya also cooks so nicely. Why you are doing like this? Then Madhumangal says, "Hey, whatever it is, but you see this item, when Yashoda made these items," he's chastising. "Hey, whatever, but we can talk about this later." "No, not later, right now we'll talk." Like that. So this all is going on, this is a very beautiful Leela, Nimantrana Utsav, that's the Leela. Okay, anyway, why are we talking about? So absolute truth, these Mayavadi, not Mayavadis, but the Brahmavadis, they are like, when you take an item, food item, you only tasted fragrance of that. So that is Brahman. आपने गुलाब जामुन बनाया बढ़िया या you made samosas. So you asked Brahmavadi, samosa khaya kya? It was smelling good. That's all. They only smell the samosa. Paramatmavadis are the ones who are one step ahead. They not only smelled the samosa, they also saw the samosa. Yeah, I saw the samosa. It was samosa, very nice. And they also touched the samosa, Or you could say they only saw the samosa. Touching is, more personal. But the bhaktas are the ones who take that samosa, they smell the fragrance, they also see it, they go there, they touch it, they put it in the mouth, Hari Bol! They are the ones who have enjoyed the taste of samosa prasadam. So that's difference between Brahman, Paramatma and Bhagwan. The Brahman feature is just understanding about Lord's feature, basic understanding. He exists everywhere, that's all. They can't talk about any activities, any attributes, nothing they can speak about. But the next ones, the Paramatma, they can speak about, yes, that Lord is very beautiful person and I meditate on him. So they constantly meditate on him. But Paramatma, you can only meditate. You cannot serve him personally. But who are the ones who serve? The devotees, the final ones. And they have the full realization aspect. This way. So this is how we see Sat, Chit and Ananda feature are there. In Sat feature, only existence is understood. In Chit feature, you understand that Lord, not only Lord exists, but he also is everywhere and he has this beautiful form. He has the energies. He creates the world. This much you understand. Paramatma creates the world because Vishnu, three Purushas. But only devotee understands Ananda feature, the service. You can render service, you can experience the joy of bhakti, most wonderful, like that. So that's the point. The touch and the taste is possible only for bhaktas. They understand the Lord's pastimes and by their service experience in the bliss of those pastimes. So this is why he is saying, the Ishopanishad is saying, that what is complete? Bhagwan feature is complete because it is full feature. If you take only the Brahman aspect, is it complete? No. The Bhagwan feature is the highest aspect. That way. So it's all going to come ahead now, that Bhagwan feature, his energies and all that. So this discussion will come ahead. But I think we can pause here for today. Tomorrow I'll complete this because it's already time. So very wonderful discussion will come ahead. How the material world is also complete. Lord Bhagavan is complete is understandable, but someone can say how material world is complete, because there is so much misery and all that in this world. Is it complete? So very beautiful explanation Prabhupada gives why material world is considered complete. He makes an amazing statement. All sorts of incompleteness are experienced because of incomplete knowledge of the complete. So this statement is loaded with wisdom. We'll talk about this statement tomorrow. How material world is complete. So let's see that tomorrow. Okay, let's pause here. All right. Shri Ishopnishad ki, Srila Prabhupada ki, Hare Krishna. Yes.
Can you show the overview?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, I'll go fast. I'll have to go fast tomorrow. Yes.
Can I ask one question?
Yes.
So when it comes to Ishopnishad, so you have explained the Ishopnishad from Gaudiya Sampradaya.
Yeah.
But Ishopnishad is also been referred in other Sampradayas.
Correct.
Or in Mayavada. Like for example, I'd like to share one of my experiences. When we were in the bookstore, someone came and asked, do you have Ishopnishad?
Yeah.
And when we referred this and showed, no, I'm not talking about it, we're talking about a big book which has a lot of information about Ishopnishad and so on. So, does that mean that their understanding or the values or the whole origins are completely different from their perspective?
Yeah. See, Ishopnishad, as you said, is a Vedanta book. So naturally it is commented also by Mayavadis, also commented by Brahmavadis. Brahmavadis and Mayavadis, there is a difference. We'll talk about it tomorrow. So naturally they have a different interpretation. So that's why who is right? Mayavadi is making his own interpretation. Vaishnavas are making their interpretation. Who is right? So this is decided by seeing something called as, in Sanskrit it's called Paurvapariya. What is Paurvapariya? You have to see the consistency of the message. Now this particular verse, Om Purnamadaha, you may give some interpretation, but is that interpretation consistent with entire 18 mantras of Ishopnishad? So if this particular idea, what is spoken here in this particular verse is consistent with all the 18 mantras, then your interpretation can be considered valid. But if it gets